Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that on Thursday, that's tomorrow, I am at Miami University virtually, and the little poster thingy that you're seeing on the side of the screen will tell you where to write if you want to get in on that action and watch the Zoom feed or whatever. I don't know if they're using Zoom or whatever. They're using some kind of feed, but you can get in on it if you write to that address that you're seeing on that little poster thingy. So see you there. There was a comment on one of the videos recently saying that I've become more esoteric lately and that I should do something more basic. And at the same time, I got a question from somebody who sits Zazen with us in the group at Angel City Zen Center, who asked me, how long should you sit Zazen? And that sounds like a really basic question, and I'm sure I've addressed this on this video channel. I'm not even going to go back through the old videos and try to find out when, but doesn't matter, I'm going to do it again. How long should you sit Zazen? Well, as long as you want, really. That's the answer. And the other answer is the old MTV slogan, too much is never enough.
Too much.
Never.
Too much is never enough.
Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, let's see if we can unpack it, as they say, as the kids say these days. The standard period of Zazen at a Soto Zen, in the Soto Zen tradition, let's say, is 40 minutes. I'm not sure exactly when or where that got established. If you read Dogen's writings, they didn't really think of things in terms of time by the clock, because there weren't any mechanical clocks in Dogen's day. So he never says anything about how long you should do it in any terms that are translatable to us today, and we have to kind of infer how long they did it. 40 minutes was the standard version of Zazen that Tim McCarthy did when I first sat with him, and that's what I got used to for 10 years. When I started sitting with Nishijima Roshi, I noticed that they did 40-minute periods sometimes, and they also did 30-minute periods of Zazen sometimes. And I was like, oh, that's new. Sometimes they do 30 minutes. So, it's 40 or 30 minutes seems to be a standard. I've gone to San Francisco Zen Center and other places, and it seems to be either 40 or 30 minutes is the standard. Occasionally, a Zazen sitting will be an hour long. Those are usually in the early mornings. The first time I ever experienced it was, God, I don't even remember, somewhere in like the Midwest, not even Midwest like Ohio, like way in the Midwest, like Minnesota or somewhere. Maybe it was in Minnesota. We did a 60-minute period of Zazen one morning that I didn't know it was 60 minutes until it was over, and I was like, whoa, that was long. And then when I went to Tassajara, I found out that their first period in the morning, every morning, is 60 minutes. Usually when you do a 60-minute period of Zazen, they give you a little break in the middle to stretch your legs or something, so your legs don't totally fall asleep and you get terribly uncomfortable and get gangrene or whatever. But 60 minutes is sort of another standard. In Rinzai Zen, however, which I discovered when I went to a Rinzai Zen temple somewhere in British Columbia on Vancouver Island. I don't remember what city, but Vancouver City and Vancouver Island are two different things I learned on that trip up to Canada that day or that week or whatever I went. They sit for 25 minutes. Rinzai sits for 25 minutes, and when I encountered Joshu Sasaki's group here in LA, that's what they did, 25. So 25 minutes seems to be the standard for Rinzai Zen, as far as I know. I mean, this is sort of like, research by experience and not by reading all this sorts of things. Now, as for how long an average person should do it, you got me. When I first started doing Zazen, I was very gung-ho about the practice. I really wanted to experience it all. So I would do a 40-minute period in the morning and a 40-minute period at night. Later on, I sort of slacked off, and sometimes I stopped doing it at all. Tim had said that you should do Zazen every day, even if it's for 5 lousy minutes. And I still remember that phrase, and I've used it often. And that's what I did. I would sit for 5 minutes if I couldn't manage anything else, usually. Sometimes I gave up completely, but mostly I did at least the 5 minutes. 5 minutes of Zazen is better than not doing Zazen at all. But, I don't know. It sort of depends what you want to get out of the practice. I've noticed that the standard for meditation, when they're just sort of generically giving you like mindfulness instructions or something, people do 10 or 20 minutes, and for a lot of sort of people who consider themselves to be busy people, as if we're not all busy people, 10 minutes is all they can afford to do in their busy day. So they'll get recommended 10 minutes. Tim said something to me that I'm almost reluctant to say on this video because it seems so out of character for a Zen teacher to say this that I'm sort of wondering if I remember it right. So I cautiously attribute this to Tim. I attribute this to an understanding I had at the time when I was a student of Tim's. So, okay, so Tim, if you didn't actually say this, then I apologize. But I think he said something like, if you are interested in something like enlightenment, which would make sense because I was interested in that at the time, then the more Zazen you do, the better your chances are of having one of those sorts of experiences. So sit longer periods, sit more sesshins, sesshins are retreats and things. So do more Zazen. So if you want that sort of experience, you're probably going to have to put more time into it. If all you want is a bit of a calm during your day, well, maybe 10 minutes is good enough, maybe 5 minutes is good enough. If you're serious about practice, though, I think you should probably do more. My current habit these days is to do 2 hours of Zazen a day. Now, I don't always achieve that. Yesterday in particular, I didn't manage to get all 2 hours in, but I just decided that I want to spend my time wisely, and that seems like a good way to spend my time, to put in 2 hours of Zazen every day. I was just looking at a thing about the Donald Hoffman, who wrote that book, The Case Against Reality, does meditation. I don't know what kind of meditation. 3 hours a day. I'm like, whoa, 3 hours a day. I wonder if I'll ever work up to that. When you are in sesshin or something, you might be doing Zazen 5 or 6 or more hours a day. There's some places where they do it 10 hours a day. There's probably places where they do it even more than that when they're in sesshins and retreats. That's a big commitment, and you kind of need to set aside a time and have a space to do it for that long. One of the things that Tim told me that he heard from Kobun Chino is that somebody asked Kobun Chino Roshi, his teacher, what is the best thing about Zazen? And Kobun's answer was, you don't have to do it. So that's one of the other things. You don't have to do it at all, obviously. Hi, Ziggy. Ziggy is barking at me because he wants me to know that there's a handyman talking to my girlfriend's dad up there, and he wants to make sure I know that this dangerous person is out there. but my girlfriend's mom is trying to get him to come and play with her instead. But anyway, sorry for the woofing. Can you see him warning me? Hey, Ziggy. Hey, Ziggy. Hey, Ziggy. You gonna warn me against the handyman? Gonna warn me against the handyman? He's dangerous, huh? He's scary. You don't want to do Zazen in order to have a result from Zazen. That's kind of... I should probably do a whole separate video on that, but that's my warning within this. But, it's not aliens, but it's aliens. If you want results, don't want results, but if you want results, then do more Zazen. That's, it's like anything, like exercise. If you're gonna lift more weights, you're gonna build muscle faster. If you run more, you're gonna strengthen your legs and lose weight faster, or whatever you're doing to run for. So if you do more Zazen, you're gonna get more of whatever Zazen does for you. The only sort of warning I would put on that is that if you don't have a teacher or a community to sit with, it might not be so great to do a whole bunch of Zazen. Because that can accelerate some changes in your headspace, man, where things could get a little weird, and if you don't have somebody to talk about that stuff with, then maybe doing a lot of Zazen is not a great idea. But I don't know, for the average Joe on the street, or Josephine, or whatever, or non-binary Joe with just an O, then I would say start off with like 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. It's just my personal recommendation, and then see what you can do from there. If you can't manage 20 minutes in the morning, then do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, and see what you can work up from there. And if you really feel like it's too much, well, just try to sit at least 5 minutes during the day, maybe just before you go to bed or something, to see if that will, work into something. There you go. That was an easy answer and not so esoteric, and I hope that satisfied the people who like Back to Basics. If you want to see me do more Back to Basics videos, you can send money here to this URL you're seeing on the screen right there. That is my only way of making a living right now, and I really appreciate your support. If you are having financial trouble, don't donate to me, because that would be dumb. I'm hanging in there, but the people who do donate to me help me hang in there, so I thank you a lot for your support. And Ziggy thanks you for your support too. See you later. Have a good time all the time. Bye.